News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Hunter Biden's trial beginning today. And one thing is for certain, Joe Biden has said about 3 separate times over a year or so publicly in media interviews that his son has done nothing wrong. Hunter has done nothing wrong. Joe Biden's name is on several federal buildings downtown. Joe Biden's name is on a whole bunch of streets in the Delaware, particularly the Wilmington area, but the whole state of Delaware. And everybody knows that if you are on the jury and you don't decide that Hunter has done nothing wrong, as his dad has made publicly clear, the commander-in-chief, the most powerful man in the world. Well, at least he's supposed to be. Doesn't act like it, but that he has made it a determination that he is totally innocent, done nothing wrong. Then one thing's for certain, not a Dr. Jill was at that hearing, along with the daughter of Joe, Hallie Biden, who her journal talks about being showering naked with her father. She believes she was molested around that time of her life as well. She has confirmed that what she wrote in that journal is true, that she was molested, and that is why she was in that sexual addiction center. She's in there. The widow of Beau Biden, she's a star witness. Joe Biden made sure to show up. He's never gone to her house, ever. But he made sure to show up at her house and make a first-time ever visit at her home 8 days before the trial to make sure that that witness has got her facts straight that back up Hunter and no one else and nothing else. No big deal when a man who's never visited you at your house or made a house call on you is doing it 8 days before trial. No big deal. But actually, forget all the personal ad hominem things or the tertiary things. Hunter Biden is on trial for 3 felonies: making a false statement about the gun, in the purchase of a firearm, I should say, making a false statement related to info for the federally licensed firearms dealer, and possession of a firearm by an unlawful user or addict of a controlled substance. He faces up to 25 years in jail. Nobody believes he's going to face that much, and a fine of up to $750,000. Joe Biden has sent a clear message to the world and to everybody in the jury pool and in the country. My son is innocent, and as Miranda Devine said today in the New York Post in her column, you mess with me, you mess with Hunter, you mess with me. He has had Hunter by his side everywhere for 2 weeks, including for the first time on a bike ride, strategically riding in front of the media with his son right behind him. Strategically taking him to 2 state dinners, including one just, I think, the other week, and having him everywhere, on every flight with the Marine One and with Air Force One, everywhere, publicly. This is my son in whom I am well pleased. He is innocent. He's done nothing wrong. You mess with him, you mess with me. So I want to ask you a few questions, as Dwayne would say. Do you believe Joe Biden is sending a message to the jury? You mess with me, you mess with my son. Do you think the jury pool is rigged by having this trial in Wilmington, just like the New York City trial was rigged based on being mostly a Democrat jury and area? And do you think this chance of Hunter, do you think there's a little chance of Hunter getting convicted? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. This is quite interesting. Every little thing coming everywhere. By the way, did you know the Biden Justice Department has come forward in this trial and literally said the laptop is real? It is authentic, and in fact, it's so real that we're going to use it as evidence. So Joe Biden lied. He knew he lied. It was Antony Blinken, his right-hand man, spokesperson, and top campaign advisor and guy who coordinated, wrote the letter, recruited the 51 former intelligence officials to lie so they could rig it so that Trump wouldn't get elected. And now, lo and behold, it's real. By their own admission. By the way, we have every line is open for you. Chime in right now at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you believe Joe Biden is sending a message to the jury? You mess with Hunter, you mess with me. And do you think the jury pool is rigged by having the trial in Wilmington, just like the New York City trial was rigged based on being mostly Democrat? In this case, Joe Biden's name is on federal buildings. On downtown, his name is everywhere on streets and roads, and you will definitely get cut off by not a Dr. Jill. You won't be in her coffee clutch if you vote to convict. Your aunt, your niece, your mama, your grandmama will not be at that coffee clutch. You will be cut off from that. You will not be in the bridge games with her. And if you own a business, think of this: if you own a business in Wilmington or anywhere in Delaware, small business, you're done. You own a dealership, you own a computer store like that Scottish fellow who Hunter shut down and Joe Biden shut down after he shared the laptop because it was publicly abandoned and it was his after Hunter left it and abandoned it. So if you don't vote the way they want to in the jury, then your business will be destroyed. It might be subtle, but it'll end up being destroyed. So I think that there's a tremendous amount of pressure on people. And I don't know. You know, one of the jurors, potential jurors that was being interviewed today said that you can't, he said something like you can't, you know, I don't know what it was, have a cat hit or without somebody knowing it in this whole town, without everybody knowing it in the town. So, you know, so that's kind of the community they're in there. I love, too, how the Democrats are playing this up and saying addiction and, this is a story of a man's love for his son and addiction. No, it's not. It's a story of somebody who lied to the federal government 3 times, on forms twice, actually 3 times. This isn't about addiction. At the time, he was an addict, admittedly, in his memoirs and all, but he actually falsified documents. That's a choice. Drug addiction is a choice too, and not to get help is a choice too. But the point is, he's still, when you're high 24/7, except when you sleep, according to his memoirs, and his former girlfriend, who was his brother's widow, she said he was high on crack unless he was sleeping, you know, when he went to bed. So that doesn't, helpless addiction and being hopelessly addicted does not excuse you from legal documents you sign, let alone lying to the government on legal documents and signing them. And this idea of checking off a box saying, oops, that wasn't me, that was the guy at the gun store. You signed it, dude. You signed it. You signed it, that box checked that way. This is not going to play, is what a lot of people are saying, and I hope so. All right, I got Joe Biden's statement that he released today, and I'm going to be telling you so much more coming up next. We have more intel on who did what regarding which authorities, local, state, and Secret Service and FBI, and what they were doing at a time when Joe Biden was nowhere near being protected by Secret Service. He was not in any capacity to be protected. He never was the president at that time, and he was no longer the vice president. He wasn't even a senator. And yet he had Secret Service backing him up on this. All that's next on the Chris Crock Show. Our number is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. And your call, chime in right now at 800-288-9227. By the way, I got information on some of the jurors that made the jury pool. That's next. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. All right, so again, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you believe President Biden sending a message, you mess with my son, you mess with me, as I do? And do you think the jury pool is rigged by having the trial in Wilmington? I know the offense happened there, but I mean, this is incredible. You never know. He's a real, Biden, as most know, is a real piece of work. And if you're not on his side, kind of in that corrupt or leg humping left that is in his community there, or in his greater community, greater area there, then you're on the crap list, I'm sure, the way this man works. But do you believe Biden's sending a message that you mess with my son, you mess with me? And do you think the jury pool, I think he really is by not a Dr. Jill being there. I understand it's his stepmom, and I understand the president showing up there would be, just would destroy the ability to get a fair trial. I think everybody knows that, including himself. But I just think it's, could you imagine if all of Trump's family was there? By the way, in the jury selection, could you imagine if all of Trump's family was there and Melania was there staring at the jury? She was making eye contact with them and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they would rip it and say, Melania, oh my gosh, and she's beautiful. Could you imagine her sitting in that room? Could you imagine, I can't hurt that beautiful woman. And could you imagine her sitting in the if she was in the stand? I know she didn't go. Could you imagine if she was sitting in the corner going, ah, when they're saying, and Stormy Daniels was being all nasty about it? How would have that played out? Right? What's Judge Bruchan going to do? Lock her up for crying? Probably, but she's too gorgeous. You going to lock up a hot supermodel type? My goodness, folks. All right, here's the latest. Our number 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think the jury pool's rigged? Is Biden sending a message? And do you think there's a little chance of Hunter getting convicted? Truthfully, I think that people are expecting this big thing, or I think they're playing it up like it's a big thing. And I don't think it's going to end up being a big thing. They'll convict him, but give him a tiny sentence. Although I'm hearing from several people that he's going to get some jail time. Interesting. I hope he does. He deserves it. And it might only be 6 months, but he deserves it. Gosh, you watch Biden. This has got to be adjudicated before. I hope it's adjudicated before the election, because you watch. If he's convicted, Biden will pardon him, especially before the election, if the polls don't look good. We're going to see. All right, we're going to get into Trump next, by the way, and his trial and the fallout from that in this 90-minute interview with Fox and Friends over the weekend. It was incredible. All right, Secret Service agents visited the gun store as well as the Delaware State Police when the revolver went missing. Now, look. The Delaware State Police have business being there, okay? It's in their jurisdiction. The Secret Service has no business. This is how rigged it is. Listen to me. Joe Biden was no longer the vice president. He no longer gets Secret Service protection. Understood? You know what I'm saying? No former vice presidents get Secret Service. Only the former presidents, right? So he had no business having Secret Service interactions. Second of all, U.S. senators that are currently serving or are done serving, as he was done, get no Secret Service protection ever, okay? Unless they're with the president, nearby. So what the point is here, the Secret Service went and roughed up the gun shop and said, give us those documents. He called his friend at ATF. I'm sure you would imagine as a gun dealer, he may have connections at ATF because they've probably been there before for different things, investigations or whatever, relationships or whatever. And if you're a gun dealer, you're going to cooperate with them, so you don't want to get shut down, right? You help them and work with them as long as it's not something illegal, like the Secret Service is trying to do. When he tried to get their badges and information, remember that? They wouldn't do it. They tried to get it. They tried to get it again and again, and they left. And that's because he would not hand it over to them. The ATF agent said, in the FBI's words, the FBI reports that the ATF agent told the gun shop owner, do not turn in your original Form 4473 over to anyone and turn over a copy only if you feel you have to, which he never did. Also, the Secret Service said it has no information. No information of the visit! No, there's no visit. We don't know what you're talking about. These are fake people. These are fake. Those badges were fake. They were at a gumball machine. They're probably some kids. Yeah. That guy should have called the cops. No information corroborating. Aren't you shocked? The jury pool is one woman has feelings about guns that there should be background checks and limits on access for assault rifles. I have an assault rifle. It's got 4 magazines, 30 rounds in each, and they're all loaded. Oh my gosh, I should go to jail. You should be probing me up the rear to make sure. You should put a chip in my head. I could be dangerous. I've had this thing for a few years or 3 or 4 years now. I could be hurting people. Oh, I'm a danger to myself. It's a weapon of war. It's under my bed. A weapon of war is under my bed. Anyways, the judge kept her in the pool, even though the defense objected, because they're like, oh, crap, she's a gun grabber. She's going to want to punish him. Woo! Hey, by the way, you know who put this law together that they're prosecuting him under? One of them? Joe Biden. Yeah, crack down hard, except for my son. We'll pardon him like the Pope. Make the sign of the cross and throw some holy water. You're set. Okay. Also in the pool, former Delaware police officer who said the FBI prosecutes over politics and specifically mentioned the Steele dossier. He once supported in the trial against Trump in New York. He once supported the candidate that challenged Beau Biden. I love that he's in there. Another potential juror says they own 4 firearms, concealed carry permits in 3 states. I like that too. All right, that's where we're at, y'all. Next, Donald J. Trump. A brand new interview on Fox and Friends. Don Jr., a brand new interview over the weekend with Tucker, and ABC's George Stephanopoulos cuts off the mic and threatens to kick him off. The Trump lawyer that defended this case for telling the truth. It's vile. You'll hear it all next. Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Let's go right to President Trump. And actually, before I even do this, I'm going to tell you right now my little weekend that ties into all this. Okay, so I did not get my power back. I'm one of those that barely got the power back this time for the weekend. It was around midnight-ish on Friday into Saturday night, and I, was at my hotel, and I'm like, I'm not checking out at, packing up and checking out at 1:32 in the morning. So I gave myself a good night's sleep, the first one I got all week, and then, play the little violin. Anyways, I woke up, and then I'm worse than a woman. I'll tell you that right now. I took me like an hour to pack up all my stuff. I'm so pathetic, but it's also taking my time. Like I'm done on that Saturday. I'm not rushing. I didn't show up till probably 2, maybe 3. I don't even know anymore. And that's when I had to get to work, like all of us. And I didn't throw out my food until Sunday because I was overwhelmed. I had to go grocery shopping. When I went to my Tom Thumb, we're going to get to this later. What is my point? While I was in the shower checking out, I know you love hearing my shower stories. I was in a nice big massive shower that I had, like a nice little suite. I always get the plug in there. I always get I don't get a plug in. I get what do you call it? I have my perks through my loyalty stuff. So I'm extremely loyal to one place, so I get a lot of points and a lot of rewards. So I get my free upgrade to the suite, and little doggy was in the suite. Anyway, so I'm in the shower. I'm cranking my I have the little Bose stereo thing, the little portable speaker that's Wi-Fi, and it's cranked and booming in my shower with all the doors closed, so I wouldn't annoy the neighbors. Hopefully, was Tucker and Don Jr. And Don Jr., I'm going to be straight with you, man. In those 2, 3, 4 minutes on these interviews he does, it's really lame on Fox and all that, because he's like, he's trying to rush it all in there, and it just sounds. It just doesn't sound good. It just sounds like surface and nothing. Laura Trump, I think, for the most part, has been horrible, in my opinion. Nowadays, she's better, but she was a Fox News contributor for a while. I think they dropped her because it's like, you're lame. She's pretty. I trust her with the RNC, I truly do, but just as far as the commentator position, it was not good. No offense to her, anybody or her. But now, Don Jr., though, with Tucker, one-on-one for like 38 minutes, it was incredible, and it was great. And it was just sitting down talking about everything, and it was fantastic. So I loved it. I learned a lot. I'll share it with you as I kind of go out through the evening tonight. And so he just tries to squeeze some stuff in and get the sound bites in there, and it just doesn't work. But on a sit down for a while, it's great. He's great. Very, very good. Now, also, as you know, President Trump did a surprise. It was Sunday morning, wasn't it? The 90-minute Fox and Friends interview. I think it was Sunday morning. I don't know. All I know is that the video came out over the weekend, and I was like, wow. And I have some highlights. Let's play some. Here is Trump. And let me throw out the questions for you. There's several things we have to be concerned about, and several things I don't know, and several things maybe we're confident about. Maybe we're being overconfident about it. All right. Do you see a Clinton bounce in the polls coming for Trump, like Bill Clinton got after his impeachment? You know what his approval rating was after the impeachment? Bill Clinton was 70% approval rating. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I did not have relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. And then Trump. Do you think he'll get a bump like that? The polls that came out today from CBS News and ABC are saying that there's no bump really. It's half think he's guilty and he's horrible and he violated the law. In some instances even higher than half, in some instances closer to 60%. But it's still 50-50 really overall. So that tells me nobody's moving the needle. And so we have to be careful, because if we don't see a bounce in 2-3 weeks, there ain't no bounce. And I had the feeling today, sorry, once again in the shower. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm not trying to do this. I'm just being real, full real, y'all. I was in the shower again, but this time at my home. And I'll give you details of that next. Just kidding. I'll describe the shower just like the last one. No, but I was listening, and the feeling I got listening to what came out at that time on the 5 or whatever was, or maybe Cavuto was doing some interviews. I'm not a fan of his, but good content in there for today at least. And I got a feeling of they really did it. We're locked in on this, and the reality is that this has been branded on him, and he will not be found innocent and overturned and thrown out until next year. They did it. They freaking pulled off. This is their massive trick. This is their COVID, laptop, Russia collusion, all their safe insurance. This is their insurance policy. Joe Biden cannot win without this. He had to make up some grand scheme. Do you know Alvin Bragg actually was flown into D.C. and met with Joe Biden's people? You know, Joe Biden gave the number 3 at Justice Department two heartbeats from the Attorney General. He left to go be this prosecutor locally in New York City. Who does that? Who leaves the number 3 highest position in the land to go to be a local prosecutor? It was all written at the White House. Rigged. All right. Here's my questions for you. Do you see a Clinton bounce in the polls for Trump coming like Bill Clinton got after his impeachment? Do you think the American people will see right through all of this blatant rigging? And do you think this is it? This is the Democrats' biggest trick to rig the election for a failed President Biden. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Now, Trump. Will he go to jail? If so, what will happen? Can he take it? Has he thought about it? Listen to this. I like the way he handled this. And he's been very calm, which is not what the left want him to do.
You've set the arraignment date for 4 days before the RNC.
Yeah, well, that's part of the game.
It is. Some have suggested you could appeal straight to the Supreme Court because of the special nature of this case. When it comes to the legal maze that you're still facing, and the judge could decide to say, hey, house arrest or even jail.
It could.
What that could.
I'm okay with it. I saw one of my lawyers the other day on television saying, oh, no, you don't want to do that to the president. I said, you don't beg for anything. You just, the way it is, think of it. They have all my books. You know, they went for 5 years, they sued me getting my tax returns, right? At the end of 5 years, they got them. The Supreme Court actually gave it to them. That was the end of it. That was it. They never found anything. They hired the best accounting firms. I have I had a pure gold firm. They call it a gold-rated firm. I don't know. It's supposed to be. Who knows? But with all that, for years you heard about my tax.
They never looked into the Clinton Foundation.
And they never found it. They never went all the way with the Clinton Foundation. They never went all the way with the Clinton Foundation, which is sort of interesting, isn't it? But so that could happen. I don't know that the public would stand it. I'm not sure the public would stand for it with a
house arrest or.
I think it would be tough for the public to take. At a certain point, there's a breaking point.
All right, coming up next, we'll hear more audio with Trump's interview at Fox and Friends, but also George Stephanopoulos, literally, when Trump's lawyer that defended him in this case, the lead attorney, when he literally says how calmly and mainstreamedly, if you will, even though George Stephanopoulos didn't agree with him, about how this case was rigged, and he said it in a very simple way, and he wasn't being conspiratorial. George Stephanopoulos refused to allow him to finish and stopped him and kept talking over him, said he was going to cut his mic. You cannot even say what the truth is from your perspective, and you're Trump's lead lawyer on a freaking news program. You see this? It's done. You're locked in a straitjacket, and then you can't get out. You're a felon. Rigged. I got more. I want you to hear that George Stephanopoulos thing coming out of the box. And Tom in Frisco is going to talk about what the Democrats will do to win in this instance. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Do you think this is it? The Democrats' biggest trick to win the election, to rig it for Joe, who can't win on just fair and square? Do you think the American people will see right through this blatant rigging? And do you see a Clinton bounce for polls for Trump coming in a week or two or so, like Clinton got after he was impeached? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. 4 lines open. Chris Croxton, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
Be run. We contest elections at the ballot box, not in the courts in this country.
That is true, but of course we've never had a former president or a presidential candidate facing the kind of charges that the president faced because of his own activities. And of course, the Attorney General in Manhattan has nothing to do with the Department of Justice. Finally, what do you expect from the sentencing process?
I vehemently disagree that the district attorney in New York was not politically motivated here, and I vehemently disagree that President Biden and his political allies aren't up to their necks in this prosecution. I think the fact
there's no evidence of that, sir. There's no. I'm not going to let you continue to say that. There's just zero evidence of that.
Well, how about the fact that Matthew Colangelo was standing over Alvin Bragg's shoulder when he announced this verdict? I mean, Colangelo was the number 3 official in the Biden Department of Justice who suddenly disappears and shows up as an assistant district attorney right as Trump's case in New York starts to proceed.
After
you want to talk about political You want to talk about political coordination?
This has nothing to do. This has nothing to do. No, it's not. This has nothing to do with President Biden. Do you want to answer the question about the sentencing process or not?
I completely disagree that this has nothing to do with President Biden. With respect to sentencing, as I said before, we're going to vigorously challenge this case on appeal. I don't think President Trump is going to end up being subject to any sentence whatsoever. And we look forward to getting this case into the next court and taking this again all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court if necessary to vindicate President Trump's rights.
That's Trump attorney Will Scharf. Man, he really was amazing there because he answered powerfully but calmly and directly. He's kind of like one of those. He's got a brain like, to me, he comes across as having a brain like my pastor, Dr. Robert Jeffress, just boom, 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 boom. I don't have that kind of brain, like a lexicon, just ready to go, back to back. He was great. That was absolutely fantastic. Catherine in Fort Worth, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hello, Catherine.
Hi, how's it going tonight?
Good, how are you?
Well, I'm fine. Like everybody, though, I'm really wound up about all this. And then when I hear that, it just makes me want to unload on Stephanopoulos, or whatever his name is.
Snuffleupagus.
Snuffleupagus. And he's a little bitty like Snuffleupagus, too. So
no, Snuffy's big. This guy's not.
I'm getting them confused.
Snuffy's big. Yeah. He's an elephant.
That's right.
Come on now.
He's an elephant. Who's the little bitty one?
Elmo.
Oh, well.
Elmo went woke. He was showing up at some woke leftist thing in Philadelphia. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, all I know is Stephanopoulos is a small man, and take that however you want to. Okay, now, I firmly believe you asked the question, do you think this is it, or do they have more up their sleeve? They have, my opinion, and I was right last time. I said it on Rick Roberts' show when we discovered that he was in the basement. He wasn't coming out. I said on y'all's programs that the fix was in. He would not be doing that and think that's all he didn't have to do anything to get president. He was just going to relax in the basement. I told Rick.
Make it all about Trump. They want Trump to make it all about him being railroaded. He has got to make it about the country and about the economy and about inflation and about wars and chaos all over the country and all over the world. Go ahead, please.
Well, all right. Now, here's what I think, and it's very, you're going to say, well, duh. Please don't, though. It'll hurt my feelings. But anyway.
Duh.
I think, I think, yes. No, this is not their last trick. They will
I agree.
do, just like so many have said, they will do whatever they think it takes.
I think you're right.
Up to and including cheating on election night. I finally believe they'll cheat on election night.
I agree with you, Catherine. This has. Let me tell you something. They did this masterfully, didn't they?
They did. Absolutely.
This is the Wall Street Journal described it as turducken or Frankenstein, like pieced together all these different things from all over the place. And as Judge Jeanine Pirro described it, it was a magic show. And this won't pass muster, and everybody knows that is being truthful. But they pulled it off, and here's the thing. There's a very high probability this will absolutely be branded on him through the election, and that what's his name in the Wall Street Journal today? Gerard Baker wrote a column saying, "What happens if Trump is overturned after the case is overturned after the election? How does he get that back?"
Well,
just like the rigged laptop and 17% of people.
You took my thunder.
17.
That's what I was going to say.
Go ahead, sorry.
Just like the you took my thunder. I was going to say it's just like the laptop. Nobody knew till right after the election, and boom.
After the election, right?
Yeah, after the election. Oh wow! Listen to that. I wish I had a car that had those loud pipes.
No, that means the guy has got a small wiener. The louder the car, the louder the pipes, the smaller the wiener. The bigger the truck, no offense to my friends with trucks, the bigger the truck, the smaller the wiener. Every time one of those goes by me, I look at my daughter, my son, or my wife, and I put my little pinky through my fist, and I go, look, wiggle it. That's what's going on in that car. That's what that is. All right. I got to roll, my sister. All right. Thank you. Sorry for stealing your thunder, although that's the only reason why I get to do a radio show. All I've done all my life is like Joe Biden. I've never created a damn thing. I just steal things. All right, up next, I've got audio of President Trump at UFC. And guess what? The guy who's one of the most powerful people in the country for interviewing, Joe Rogan, who's refused to have Trump on, they interacted at this thing. So much to do on that. More audio from Trump and so much more coming up next. Also, Trump's calling on the Supreme Court to intervene. And what never Trumper rhinos publicly denounced this Trump case that just went down in New York. You're not going to believe it. Next.